Welcome back. We have received a lot of feedback from thinking of suicide. A special report that aired last night during the 5 p.m. newscast. A 13-year-old middle school girl shares her very personal story about attempting suicide. Her parents missed the signs. Counselors didn't realize how desperate she was, and she almost died.
I opened my phone, and there was like a million texts that were like, "You should kill yourself, you're a whore."
The text messages suggesting Trinity Taylor end her life came from so-called friends.
I have a gun under my mattress, and its bullets miss your head.
Some threats even coming from phone numbers she didn't recognize.
I just, at that point, was like, maybe they're right. Like, maybe there's no point.
Pain was something this 12-year-old expressed in her personal drawings, but she never considered suicide until...
How many did you take?
Too many to count. I just was over it. I just didn't know what else to do.
With her back up against the wall, she chose death over life. Pills causing her to hallucinate for several days. Trinity spent an entire week in the hospital. This popular cheerleader, artist, writer, with loving parents, 5 brothers and sisters, executed her plan to die.
I was such a happy person most of my life.
And she talks about that, being such a happy person, but she was bullied, and that changed much of what she was living at that time. So Jim Clark is with me with Daniel Kids, been there for almost 30 years, and it's really awesome to see you in that position fighting for these kids. Yeah. You know, we want to talk about this issue and talk about, we don't want to make it taboo. As you mentioned, the more you talk about it, the better.
Absolutely. One of the misconceptions is the fact that if you talk to your child about suicide, or are you thinking about committing suicide, that can increase that, and that's absolutely not true. You know, one of the things we tell parents a lot of times is be careful what you say. It's not what you say, it's the fact that you're engaged. You know, I've heard parents say, well, they're not going to commit suicide, or they're a drama queen, or they're just trying to get attention. Anytime a teen is trying to get attention, that's a sign that they need to have that attention. Otherwise, other things can happen.
And let's talk about the age, because Jen and I, you know, she's got young kids, I got really little kids, but it's a conversation that, you know, you need to have earlier than maybe you're even comfortable with.
Absolutely. We know that it's the 3rd leading cause of death for people between the ages of 15 and 24, and it's the 6th leading cause of death from 5 to 24. So there is no really inappropriate age in which to talk about it. If a child intellectually has the capability to harm themselves, that's a great time in which to have that conversation. And one of the things I had mentioned to you, parents need to be aware of that guns in the home is a big issue, right. Particularly with boys. Boys are 4 times more likely to have a lethal suicide attempt than girls, because girls tend to use medication and pills, and there's sometimes opportunities for which they intervene. Boys tend to use weapons. In fact, 60% of all suicides in our country are committed with guns.
So those items, those pills, those dangerous, deadly items need to be kept hidden in the home and make sure that the kids don't know about it, or you're talking about it. You got to talk about it. Right. I want to kind of show you the statistics, because as we got them, it was so surprising to me. The number of people who attempted suicide in 2015, 238 in Duval, 87 in Clay, St. John's, 53, and these are school-age children and teenagers. And then the number of actual committed suicides in 2015, 7 in Duval, 1 in Clay, 4 in St. John's, and we went back a few years, and in every county, there's one.
That's right. That's right. A lot of people think it has to do with, there are no factors. Well, you're poor, you know, they're depressed, or they're wealthy, and you can be wealthy or poor and still be depressed. And so mental health services are really important for families to assist and get those kids the kind of help they need.
And I want to talk about mental health, because you can't talk about suicide without mental health.
That's right.
You know, maybe those text messages telling someone to commit suicide might affect one person a lot differently than another. That one person might be like, you know, I'm stronger than that, whatever, or, you know, brush it off. And another, it might make them think, I need to do that. So what's there, and then how can you prevent that from coming back up later in life?
There's lots of things that parents need to be sensitive to. I tell parents often, what kind of conversation is your child having? If they're talking about, you know, I want to die, or I feel so guilty, this is over with, I'll never get over that. do not forget to think about you were a teen one time too, and what you were able to deal with today is much more complex. It used to be bullying at the schoolyard. Now it's bullying at the schoolyard. It might be bullying on your phone. It's bullying if you're looking at it in your church. All different kind of ways. When you're in the grocery store looking at your kids' screen time on their phone. So it's an intense kind of environment for a lot of children who particularly have some other difficulties that they're going through. So look at what kind of messages they're doing. Who are they withdrawing? Do they seem gloom? Are they writing morose and depressing poems? Are they giving away their items? Are they not engaging in activities that they used to?
And take it seriously as a parent.
Absolutely.
That is our obligation. And even as friends and families and other people who may see this, I want you to write down these numbers, share them with your kids, even, talk to them, let them know that there's help out there. If you know someone who's struggling with suicidal thoughts, or you just are noticing some of those symptoms we just talked about, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's 800-273-8255. Or you can always call the United Way by dialing 211, just press 2, and you'll get immediate local crisis help. It doesn't hurt to call if you're even close to anything or you're suspecting something.